open your service up. Ask prayer requests and stuff like that.
Any prayer requests? Kenny?
I went to Mama's today, everybody knows. Everybody pray for Daddy. He's still talking crazy to me, but he said, I hope I'm gone by April. So that's when his insurance cuts out when he turns 80, but it's the year that he signed up, so he'd actually be about 80 and a half. He said April 1st his insurance cuts out, and then that's $50,000 insurance he won't have. Life insurance. It's only up to 80 years old.
So he's paid on it all these years and it's only up to 80?
80 years old. 80 years, well, April's when he took it out, so it's up to his 80. He turns 80 in September, then it's till April. He has till April.
I always thought once you started dozing, you kept paying them, they paid out no matter the age.
It's okay, it's their time you're gonna die by.
But he's saying today, yeah, he was saying today, I hope I'm gone by the time I'm 80, so Mary can get that money. You know,
We can arrange that. No.
but he just, Daddy's not himself. Like you said, talk to you, I mean,
He's thinking
I'd
of
like to see you. He's told me a couple of times, I'd like to see you go. I don't know if he wants to talk to you about something.
You just need to.
Everybody pray. He'd love to get up sometime and come to church again up here.
Who else?
They're really working hard, very confident, they're really trying hard.
And don't forget Saturday morning, 10 o'clock. Youth choir's got to sing down at Upper Road.
Remember, Ron, Chris, and Jessica and Matthew and all that. Lydia really loves coming to church. She's told her daddy that. But Chris will not let Lydia come. Period. So he told me flat out, don't ask.
Chin down, chin up, guts up in, chest out.
You know, prayer thing.
Well, they need it,
Remember, Katie, when I told her mom and dad were all sick.
I don't believe you get out of there.
I'm hoping they just eat something else. I'm hoping I don't.
Did you eat everything they eat?
Well, no, not exactly. I mean, the only thing being handled is they did something they hadn't had.
Oh, don't even go there, because yes, that's another reason not to eat that.
That's right, they're right. That stands very good, Dave. But anyway, they are sick, so we're used to it. So I.
Anybody else? Oh, Josh?
Never my brothers, they both got situations going on right now. They need God now more than ever. And they just don't seem to realize it. And that they gotta get hold of them. Don't want to see anything crazy happen. I'm not gonna pray that way. I just pray that God will intervene in the situation, get a hold of them, get them back on the right track where they need to be.
Dwayne, will you open us up in prayer?
Open us up in prayer. Yeah, you're the only Dwayne here.
So, dear Lord, we come to you this day, God, we thank you, God, for you being a blessing, love, and carefulness. Lord, I thank you, God, for bringing us safely here. Lord, I just ask you, God, to pray for each night. Lord, I thank you, God, for each and every child that is presented here. Lord, I just ask you, God, to help us through this service. In Jesus' name we pray.
Kenny,
Oh, man. That's for missing this morning.
Feel like where man, sit down. Get up.
I got switched.
120. The 120, the 130.
I see 120 is something.
that was Andrew's thing. Ow! What if it was in the storage?
I heard it all.
How a Savior came from glory. How he gave his life on Calvary to save a wretch like me. I heard about his story, of his precious blood upon me. When I repented of my sin and won the victory. Oh, victory in Jesus, my Savior forever. He sought me and bought me with his redeeming blood. He brought me in I knew him, and all my love is in him. He plunged me to victory. He the cleansing blood. I heard about his healing, how his cleansing power redeemed me, how he made the way to walk again, and caused the blind to see. And when I cried, dear Jesus, come and heal my broken spirit, then somehow Jesus came and brought to me the victory. Oh, victory in Jesus, my Savior forever. He saw me and he bought me with his redeeming blood. He loved me ere I knew him, and for me in glory. When I heard about the streets of gold, beyond the crystal sea, about the angels singing, and the angels story, and some sweet day I'll sing of the song of victory. Oh, victory in Jesus, my Savior forever. He sought me and he bought me with his redeeming blood. He loved me ere I knew him, and all my love is to him. He wants me to victory, beneath the cleansing blood.
Amen. Good to see Elizabeth here. You working?
That is amazing.
Called out.
Called out to do that, no?
I wanted to see my grandpa.
You say good to see you.
I told him that our half I wasn't doing good.
Like 1:30.
I'm sure they did survive that.
Well, they shut
Just say, fix me a sandwich.
Like 1:30. You know, this morning, all the men got up and read a verse or two and said something. You know, they asked me if I wanted to, and I said, yeah. So I sent Denise to the car to get my glasses so I could see. And I read John 14. You know, because your daddy's talking about when we all go to heaven, what we're going to do, and how much there's going to be no sickness or no pain or anything. I talking about our mansion, you know what? Everybody knows John 14. And I think Daddy sat and cried the whole service. He sat and cried the whole service. Sunday school through the whole service. But I just felt like it's what God wanted me to read. It's 1:30. Long years ago. I pray to Jesus and He's glad to set me free. I never shall forget when all the burdens from my soul roll away. It makes me happy, glad and free. I'll sing and shout it for He's everything to me. Now I can feel Him by my side. My people say, He comes to God. When trials come, with faith in Him, I'll say I have victory. I never shall forget the day when all the burdens from my soul roll away. It makes me happy,
sinner at his dear feet, just humbly bow, confess to him your everything. I'll say, make way to give you peace and joy within. I never shall forget the day when all the burdens from my soul roll away. It makes me happy, glad and free. I'll sing and shout it for He's everything to me.
Chipmunk to see one.
Alright guys, come on. I can't sing this one, man, I'm not gonna play. Promise.
You want to know you rephrase that?
The Lord commanded us to go and do whatever we can to spread the gospel far and wide to each and every man. I'll go where you want me to go. I'll do what you want me to do. I'll be what you want me to be. I'll go, I'll do, I'll be. And when my work on earth is done and I am called away, on wings above I'll take my flight to heaven on that day. I'll go where you want me to go. I'll do what you want me to do. I'll be what you want me to be. I'll go, I'll do, I'll be.
Hold on. Who can tell me the first word in the Bible?
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Actually, the first one was Dan.
I didn't say the whole verse, I said.
First
first word.
I will leave the five.
Holy.
I'm good, okay?
I'm telling you the truth. Amen. Are we gonna go and do what the Lord wants us to do? That's the way we should be. We'll go and do what He wants us to do, and we'll be what He wants us to be. Not sit and say, why? I don't want to. I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it. Are we gonna go and do and be what God wants us to do? And do. Don't think about church. Just something to think about. At least in your life. In class.
So we've had a very interesting month. I decided I wanted the kids to learn the Ten Commandments. So we started working on it, and I'm gonna let her do her verse here in a minute, but the first one is dealing with faith. And so we decided to do a little bit on this project. So where's David in the house? Can you show everybody? Okay, what's he doing in the house? That's right. Where did they take them? Well, show them where the lion's den is. That's right.
Yeah.
So,
Daniel said this.
that's right. ready to do your verse? Now. Shout. God before me. Our fun thing was every time we'd ask her what happened to Daniel and why he got thrown in the lion's den, he should say he tripped over a motorcycle and fell in the lion's den.
Yeah, she said, yeah.
But that's what we've learned on or worked on this month.
Yeah.
She's gonna tell us about Daniel.
Emma, bring it here, show me. Come here.
Amy, do you like attention? You and James would be the same, identical.
Emma, bring it here.
No. Are we that enthusiastic when we tell somebody about Jesus?
Amen, that was how old is she now?
She's 40.
That's really good, she's 11. And I mean, she might not do it exactly right now. But I'll tell you what, time she, when I was sick, she might teach us a few things.
Josh.
I honestly believe that, you know, we would laugh at her downstairs. But she got up here today and she said exactly what happened. The guy took them and threw them in the line. And so I know she's listening.
Yeah.
She knows what she's talking about.
Miss Carolyn Green. Primary classroom.
Let's see how smart they are. You did good.
We've been, for the 2 weeks that I have been here, Denise wanted to know if I wanted to go in-house with her on teaching my girls. You know, when we were in the beginner's class, we taught them how to do each of the books of the Bible. So we've been working on, for the 2 weeks I've been able to work with them, we've been working on learning, you know, with Denise, you know, she can only do like one verse a month. But with my girls, you know, they can use two or three to learn the 10 Commandments. So do y'all remember any of them? Well, you just haven't stayed in that order, but what do you know? What do you Yeah. So they're working on remembering, you know, not the entire verse, but, you know, just the main part of the verse. That's what we've been working on.
Can we say in the morning? What's the goal?
I can say them, but I can't remember.
I ain't gonna promise you I'll give them the order. I can tell you what they are.
What's that?
But I can't put them in order.
We talked about this one in Sunday school.
I can read it.
I can tell you where they are.
Well, that's simple, it's chapter 20.
Over the last month, I've probably made them mad quite a few times, just to be honest.
Oh, well.
We talked a lot about respecting ourselves and not letting other people on this earth have dominion over us. You know, our parents, they are over us, but they're at an age now where they have to make their own decisions. And not letting, with the boys and different things, and not letting the boys control
Yeah.
their decisions or their friends control their decisions.
That's right.
You know, so it's been a big discussion in our class. Would you treat anybody that way? You know, the way you've been treated, is that how you would want your mom to be treated or your sister to be treated? And it was like, well, no. I'm like, well, then why are you doing it? So we've talked a lot about that. So in Proverbs, in chapter 16, we did all the ways of a man are clean in his own eyes, but the Lord weigheth the spirit. We talked about how nowadays they think everything's okay. Oh, well, it's not a big deal. It's just a boyfriend. It's not a big deal. What he's doing is not a big deal, but it is. So, Elizabeth, how did you feel about these lessons?
They were eye-opening and.
I forget. I figured it would make them mad, but I had them sit down and write. I asked them, I said, who are you? What's the first things y'all wrote down?
I'm Elizabeth.
Yeah. I said, what else are you? What else did you say? What was the thing that you didn't say first?
I didn't say I was a child of God first. I said that.
Yeah. They said that later, and I said, why? Why are you labeling yourself these other things when the first thing that you should be doing is saying, I'm a child of God? You know, that God loves me and he died for me. That should be what we all say. It's not just for the teenagers even, or the little kids, or for everybody should be saying, you know, who are you? I'm a child of God. And, you know, I made them realize that, hey, you're putting all these other things above that. Well, I'm crazy, I'm silly, I'm fun to be around, I'm a good friend. Okay, well, those are all good things. But the main important thing in your life should be, I'm a child of God. So that's what we talked a lot about, and how the people we're around will influence how we act and how we respond to things. And the way that we let people treat us is a big deal in our lives. You know, God does not treat you badly, and he does not want you treated badly. So you shouldn't allow, you know, especially a boyfriend or a friend to treat you badly, especially at this age. You know, there's so much more to live for than just that. So we've had a lot of conversations about it, and like I said, I know they got kind of mad at me and all, but I wanted them to understand this is not what God wants. God doesn't want you talked down to. God wants to raise you up and for you to be a, you know, a child of his and to live for him, and that, you know, his opinion is what matters. It's not, you know, the boyfriend or the friends or whoever. It's God's opinion, you know. Just your boyfriend don't like the way you do your hair, too bad, so sad. It's not his choice. God didn't give him your hair. He gave it to you. You know, you're not his. You don't belong to him. You belong to God.
Yeah, he put the mark on your head, not us.
So you see, and that's what we talked about. You know, you belong to God. You don't belong to the people of this world. You know, your parents, you've been loaned to your parents. You don't even belong to them. You've been loaned to them from God. So that's what we talked about this whole month, really, is just respecting themselves and standing up and saying, I'm a child of God, and I'm going to do what God wants me to do.
Right.
You know, no matter what this world thinks about it. My friends don't like it, I'm sorry. And how those influences can affect your decisions. So that's what we talked about this month. Like I said, I think they got a little mad, but they all kind of got over it. I hope it opened their eyes some, just to see what God wants for them. Not because it's what I want for them, but what God wants for their lives. That was my biggest thing. I want to see what God can do with me. Put effort into serving Him. And if you're not putting the effort into serving God, where are you at? What are you doing? How close can you be to Him? You put all this effort into it. You don't ever talk to your friends like your friends. But if you don't ever talk to God, you're not close to Him either. So I wanted them to see that where are your priorities laid. I know you've got a lot going on. You know, they're getting ready to go back to school. They have friends. They have jobs. They have all these things going on. But where are their priorities? Where should they put their priorities? And how they should be with God and not with anything else. All the other stuff, if you'll put all your priorities on God, He'll work everything else out for you. So that's what we did this month. I'm still thinking it's true.
You adjust for anything more.
I can get them no place.
This past month, we talked about witnessing and the social part.
These kids going to school, they have to live within a social bar. And I know a lot of people, that sounds crazy, but that's your popularity. It's where you belong with your group of friends. What this world expects out of you and what you need to be doing. These boys have done a tremendous job with the witnessing aspect. And I asked them, I said, where do you stand on your social grade with school, with your friends? Are you guys up here with the most popular kids? Are you kind of upper, lower? Are you middle, lower? Or are you at the bottom? They said, well, somewhere between the bottom and maybe the lower middle. And I said, well, why is that? They said, well, people overlook us. People want to make fun of us. People just aren't kind. So I told them, I said, that doesn't matter. Do you think that God has a social standard? I asked them, I said, is God a respecter of persons? They said, yeah. I said, do you understand what a respecter of persons is? No, we have no clue. So I had to break it down for them that God has no respect for whoever you are. It doesn't matter if you're Donald Trump billionaire or if you're Ted the homeless guy living under the bridge. God doesn't care. His son died for one and all. Everybody. When God said that for he so loved the world, everybody. There wasn't saying, well, except for Indonesia or except, the 1600 block of Asheville Highway. There's no stipulations. There's no cutout marks. There's no expiration date on God's love. It's for everybody. So God does not live by a social standard that their friends live by. So they should not be afraid to witness to these people. I asked them, I said, what would you do if God told you to go witness to the most popular kid in the city? JD and Adam were like, we'd be scared to death. Our knees would be knocked. We'd have no idea what to do. I said, well, if God doesn't care who they are, as in their social standard, why should they? And I said, our problem is we see this stuff first. We see this stuff first. We see stuff like this before we see people spiritually.
That's it.
When we walk into a church, we don't even see one another spiritually. Well, he wasn't wearing a tie this morning, but he's wearing one tonight. That's because my tie busted this morning. And before I went and preached, I put one on. Not because there's a social standard to live by, because I believe it was respectful to God. That's how God would want me to be. We don't see people like that. We don't see them as spiritual. We don't see, okay, well, they might be in need, they might need prayer. Oh, Ricky's wearing a peach color shirt on the right. That's how we look at them. That's how our children are programmed to look at people throughout school. Mason wears glasses, so does JD. Adam doesn't. Does that make them any different? Does God love one more than the other? Absolutely not. So they have got to get out of this social stigma of thinking, well, I have to live within the lines of what this world says. No.
Don't fall.
God has no lines except walking in his footsteps, following his path. He's the author and finisher of our faith. That's who we've got to follow.
Don't fall.
We've got to learn that we're going to witness to people.
Yeah, really,
We've got to
don't
stop seeing
fall.
them socially and see them spiritually. Instead of looking at them through the social bar, we've got to look at them through the spiritual bar. Through that spiritual hiatus. Wherever they stand, we need to figure it out. Because you're going to tell one another by the fruits we bear. Whether you're living for God, whether you're not. You can sit here and fake it all day long. Eventually, it's going to come to the surface. These guys, if they get in school, it's eventually going to come to the surface. One of their friends is going to catch them. But if they are living spiritually, and when their friends see them, they see that there's something different. We know it's Mason, but there's something's different. We see JD, but something's different. We see Adam, but something's different. Can't quite put your finger on it. That's God. Because then they start poking and asking questions. What happened over the summer? You seem different. Not bad. I mean, it's not your haircut. Your nose didn't get bigger. Maybe you're getting a little bit of peach fuzz on the top lip. It's nothing like that. They've gotten drawn closer to God. That's their job. And they can be a witness through their spiritual, where they stand in favor with God. Because listen, you can be a Christian and be at the very bottom of the totem pole. Now, a lot of people, that sounds crazy. It's not that God doesn't love people more than the other, but you're not going to be blessed over sin.
Yeah.
You're not going to find favor and grace in God's eyes. Noah wasn't out running around getting drunk at the beginning. It was after he had found favor. Then he messed up. David was a man after God's own heart. He messed up. That doesn't give us a license to sin, but we've got to remember we're human.
We gotta treat other people as humans. That's how God wants us to treat them. Not because we're different, because God loves everyone. We gotta see them spiritually and treat them as such. And if we start doing that, the witnessing that these kids can do in school would be tremendous. Their friends would want to know, why do you do this? Even after school, their friends are going to see them and say, hey, something different about you. What happened? And that's the example we used while they were witnessing. They're like, well, we're not out of school yet. I said, but keep this in mind. Because you may not get the chance to witness to them now, but later on down the road, you will. I didn't get a chance to witness to Kenny son while I was in high school. It took many, many years later. Here I am, 32 years old, and I've got that opportunity now. I get to see him every day while he's at work. He makes my bologna and cheese and egg sandwiches in the morning time. When he hears extra toasted bread, he doesn't speak standing on the other side of the counter. Just nobody else orders that one. And he looks for me. So that's my opportunity. I can't see Chris as I've known Chris since we were teenagers. I gotta look at Chris and say, hey, you know, he's standing in need of Christ. And him crucified, risen, coming again, he needs to be covered by that blood. He can't look back and see the old Josh. That's not what he can't see that no more. I can't allow that to be shown. If I go back and do the same things that I've done before, everything that I've stood for is wiped out. If these kids no longer
Amen.
God, they are not going to show their friends and the people they're going to come in contact with what they can do and what God can do and how they can be used. That's what we learn about.
Amen. You know, witnessing to somebody, how many times do we get scared? How many times do we sit there and say, I'm afraid of what they're going to do to me? I can't do it. I can't get the words to come out right. I always mess something up. How many times does that happen to us, church? How many times do we let that happen to us?
How many times we've been that much closer to God?
Amen.
Talk with them young people, they say that. I know people can say, preach something. I get upset, I guarantee you, I'll get home. Get right where I was living, and I didn't want to.
Yeah.
They get upset every time. I told them girls that upset. She was facing my hand. It happens every time.
Somebody got a testimony?
I think God, even though the girls get mad at me, they do listen to me, and they, you know, I can see it all over their faces. And they don't even have to say a word. I can see it on their faces. But by the end of class, that look's always gone. They just kind of, they take it in. They might not listen to it right now, but those words are there, and they've heard what God had to say to them. And I thank God for that chance, just to be a light and witness, and to say, you know, look, I've been through some of these things you're going through now. Don't, you know, it's not worth it.
I thank God for saving my soul, first off. And, you know, all these prices get up here, and I joke with James about him getting up to the adult price and all that. But I just want to say I appreciate James. And I know God gives him what to give us. I know it's not James talking, it's God talking through him. But I just wanted to say, you know, about the rest of the adults that's in James's class, but I do appreciate it. And what he does and how he tries to mind the Lord.
Amen.
You know, every Sunday morning, I missed it this morning, but every Sunday morning, you know, he's right there and doing what God tells him to do. He might keep us somewhere for a month, but it's because God's not done with that. You know, we might be on it for 6 months, but God's not done with that yet. You know, and I appreciate it. I just want him to know that. Thank you.
And you know, a lot of times, as adult guys,
Well, James probably thinks I ain't paying him a bit more attention than man moves, because I'm here, there, and everywhere during Sunday school. But I'm usually back there trying to get everything ready for the 11 o'clock service and all. But I can listen, and I thank God that we have teachers here at Grace that are obedient to what God wants. You know, God comes in and it goes some other direction. What's been studied out, well, what the Lord's given, and it ends up taking a wild turn to the right, and it ends up over somewhere else. But
Did this morning.
God's put it there. God's got in and it's took the turn, and it all turns out to be good. There's times that it takes 2 or 3 weeks to ever get past 1 or 2 verses. But if the Lord comes, as long as we be obedient to the Lord, let the Lord come in, then He's going to be satisfied with us, Brother Josh. Yeah, we may study out 10, 15 verses with Sunday school teachers to teach on, might make it to 1. Amen. But that one verse you read, I mean, there might be somebody sitting there at that time that needs that one verse, or don't understand that one verse, or so on and so forth. And it takes a little longer to get there. But we got to stay true to God and stay faithful to God, and obedient to God, and be humble to Him. Be humble to what He's wanting us to do. Because it's when we step out on our own, Brother Josh, is when we make a big mistake. When we make a big mess out of things.
Yeah.
As long as we let God lead, then what's going to happen? Everything's going to turn out to be what it should be.
Think about this, you know, you're saying there, Will, it ends up being just about one verse. Think about 90% of the messages you hear. How many verses you hear in that message?
1.
Normally you might read 7 or 8, but there's one particular verse that you come off. And that's because that's what God's got needs to be said at that time. I think about it a lot of times, and you know, most times during a funeral, you use the same verse every time. 23rd Psalms is always in there at some point. But if you think back for you that was here at our Aunt Deborah's, 23rd Psalm, I never even used it. I don't think. Because the Lord didn't have that in my cousin used it, Johnny Lee. But, you know, for me, the Lord didn't have that for me. Think about this. We need to be thankful for what God has given us. You know, I talk about joking around, you know, when people miss service, you miss them. You know where they normally sit, you miss them. But think about this, be thankful for what God's given you at what time. I've never want to pastor a church that's on the run 150, 200 people. It's not in me. God's never called me to do that. That's why the few times this church has got up to 80 and 90, it falls right back off just about as quick as it gets up there, because God never intended for me to pastor a huge mega church. God intended me to pastor a small group that I could help. If God intended me to pastor a mega church, I'd be pastoring a bigger church right now. But God intended for me to be pastor. And me and Brother Mark Penley are talking about this. We're pastors to the little people, the ones that these other churches don't want no part of.
Amen. Yeah. Amen.
That run off because maybe they have a tattoo, or maybe because they don't wear a suit to church on Sunday mornings, and this, and for odd reasons they run them off. So someone's got a pastor.
Yeah.
You know, what if we ran off everyone that we disagreed with? James wouldn't be here. Joe wouldn't be here. Kenny wouldn't be here. You don't know something? I have to grab a hold of the seat of my own pants and throw my own self out the door.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's times I don't agree with my own self.
Yeah.
So think about that. Be thankful for what God has got you and got you doing. We were talking up the radio today, we said, we said, you know, this is the smallest radio station that ever been. There's 3 of us in there. That was it, 3 of us. Since we've been on the air since Easter Sunday, there've been always more than 3 in there. Did it bother us? Did we not preach? Did we just say, play a CD? No, we didn't do that. I was thankful for what God had there, because that's more than I expected. I expected to be preaching to myself to empty chairs. But you know, about 15 minutes later, here come a whole crew of people in there, and it was full. God has His plans and His ideas of what He wants to do. We don't need to step in the way.
Yeah.
And I will say this right here. I am not going to bend the Word of God. I am not going to give money from this church to condone sin.
Amen. Yes, sir.
Because we need to be thankful for what God can do.
Amen.
Has your family ever went hungry, Andrew? James, you ever went hungry? Joe, you ever went hungry? Kenny, you went hungry? Ricky, you went hungry? Josh, have you went hungry? Your family? Sherry? Dwayne? None of us went hungry. You know why? Because God cares.
That's
right.
Amen.
He cares. You know what? While we were yet sinners, Christ died. Oh, what love.
Yeah.
I got what? Go ahead.
But if you allow me, I'm gonna tell you about this morning. And it seems like it's always that way, that I don't never get what I'm gonna do until Sunday morning. And I was excited. And then once I felt like I failed mentally, because it was so exciting to me. And there was so much in it. And I just felt like I'd failed to deliver what God had given me. And what God said told a whole lot. And I appreciate it. But believe me, what I take comes from God. I'm too ignorant to find that.
Amen, James.
And I mean, I'm very serious. God forbid that I get any glory if I'm sin. And a lot of times you'll get up there, or I'll get up there, and I want it to be really exciting. And then I get thinking, is it that I'm trying to get praise from me? If it is, it's wrong. And I have to repent that. I left here this morning, boy, I'm doing some repenting. Because like I said, I felt like that faith. But what God had gave me when I was hearing it was so exciting to me. Mm-hmm. In one verse, there was so much. And I felt like that I failed. I didn't deliver it the way that I should.
Amen.
And I apologize. And I'm not sure what got my way. But there's something got my way, and it was probably this one here. And I've asked God to forgive me for it.
I thought it was a pretty good lesson myself this morning.
I mean, if God let me, I'll take it over again. It was really good and exciting.
James, I think you're being too hard on yourself, because I think it was a great lesson this morning.
It was.
A lot of times we underestimate what God's really doing.
Yeah.
Let me say something right quick. It was, and that's part wrong I must be done. God gave it to me right to know that. But I didn't deliver it right. I had something in my way. And when I left here, I really felt like faith.
I feel like
And
that every
that's
time
something I really most times don't feel like faith. I did this morning. Y'all pray for me. I need, I very desperately need y'all prayer. Every one. And I'm guaranteeing you, teacher in here, say the same thing. Because I need to finish 8th grade. I'm not qualified to teach. Who in the world put me to teaching?
God did.
It has to be God. Because I'm too stupid to do it on my own. I mean, I'm being real straight with y'all. So it had to be God. So y'all pray for me. Believe me, I need it. I love the Lord. I'll tell you that right now.
I know what James saying about feeling like a failure. He says he don't feel it every Sunday, but now every time I stand behind that sacred desk and I get out from behind it and I'm done preaching.
Well, I do to an extent. I feel like I didn't get everything out that God gave me.
I've preached messages. Boy, we're just having a good time in the Lord tonight. I've preached messages before and thought, man, the church would tear themselves apart.
Yeah, I thought so this morning.
And you just sit there and you're up preaching and it's like, am I saying it wrong? Am I doing something wrong? But it ain't that. In our own fleshly mind, we think it should be torn apart. But God's got intention. One of the messages that I thought people were just going to blow away was watch them dogs. Way back out from the storefront, I preached that. Watch them dogs. And you know, still to this day, that message has got more copies made of it than any other message. That was one that I didn't think twice about. The night I preached it, there was 26 copies made and handed out. I didn't think much about that one. I just, Brother Ricky, you know what I'm saying. There's times you get a message and you're like, people, this is going to be over their heads. They ain't going to understand one thing about it. I'm just thankful that God takes the simplest things like watch them dogs and uses it. 7 dunks in a muddy pond. I mean, you think about some of the titles that you've heard. God can take something that simple.
You know, another thing, you can do things. I might say something, or I might have a foul thought, and it will absolutely ruin the whole message that God gave.
They will.
I might look at somebody wrong, or they might look at me wrong. I don't know. But you'd be surprised how much effect it'll have on you. Like I say, it's terrible when you feel like you failed God.
Yeah.
And I know I face it all the time, but it seems like I just failed it terribly bad today.
I want to think about those needs that we have in the church. Every time we have a youth Sunday and I get Cindy up there, 3 years old, she's able to do what she does. Like I said before, she has laughing downstairs, what she would say, or what happened to Daniel. But when she got up every day, she knew exactly what she was talking about. And she may not be able to learn the verses like she did the one verse that she still to this day thinks is her Bible verse. But she tries, and you can tell she tries. Kiana asks me all the time, why do you drive her to get her to say her verse during class? But I do it because I know that's something that she likes, and if I can get her to say it and learn it, and if I have to give her candy to get her to say it and learn it, then I'll do what I have to do to help her learn it.
Yeah.
But I'm proud of our youth. We have got a great bunch of kids.
Right. Talk about people bribing these kids to learn. Giving them dollar bills and candy and
Pastor.
whatnot. But how many times have you heard of somebody that just came to church for something worldly? Play softball, get a hot dog, so on and so forth. So, you get saved, and go to church from there on out. You know, we always say, do what you gotta do to get a meal. It's our job, church, to get them through the back door.
I tell you, I'm proud of the dog. Kids too, I've lived, but, and I'm gonna embarrass her, I guess, but you know what, she acts like a kid. She really does. And I'm not saying because she's sitting there. I tell people outside this church,
School, work,
Kara, you can tell she's pretty. And I love to talk to her. I love going, y'all know I go to see kids all the time. But we got some good kids. They're gonna do things that we don't like. They're kids. If they didn't, I'd really be worried about it. But you know, we got good kids. Put that pen up, quit that.
But then you
I'm
think
just
about
kidding
this.
you, baby.
For those that was here this morning, what did I preach on? Can you remember? Don't call no one father. Don't call no one master other than God. That's right.
Yeah.
But did you see how long it took? You notice that? James, one time, I will never forget it. He come in with papers and give us a test during Sunday school. He wanted to see what we was learning.
Yeah.
And I told him, don't do it, because you ain't gonna like the result. It's true, you ain't gonna like it. Did you notice how quick it took a while for the ones that was here? You watched it on live stream, didn't you? Huh? After it was over with? What were you doing, sleeping? But think about this. Think about how long it took for someone to answer it. For those that was at the radio, what I preached on the radio. I said it down on the board. For those that was on at the radio or listened to the radio.
I don't remember. I listened to it. All I remember is Mary and we were talking about going home with him, whether it be through dying or through the rapture, but God saved you, and that's all I heard.
Oh, I know.
Pick up.
You put Jesus in the bottom drawer.
That was,
Yeah,
that
he
was,
did bring that up.
yeah, I brought that up. Well, the crucifixion at St. Joseph. Andrew was, actually, I did, Andrew put it in there. Now, God will change people, but lo, I come to you in the volume of the book. Think about this. So I can put you on the spot right here, and you ain't gonna remember it, just like that. You get way off down the road somewhere, and you've been sitting under preaching or teaching, and you go, "Huh, that's what he was meaning."
Yeah.
Have you ever left church, got about 3/4 of the way home, and all of a sudden he hits you? Hey, that's what he said while he was preaching.
Oh, yeah.
That's what he meant.
Yeah.
But what it is the Bible says, God said his word wouldn't return to him void.
That's it.
So it keeps working, even if you ain't seeing it right then.
Yep.
Boy, you think, everybody should be shouting on that one. I'm saying his word still works.
Amen.
I mean, I scared Elizabeth when I go through McDonald's all the time. Every time I've been through there, she's been working the window, and I come up to that window and I'll scream, "Fix me a sandwich!" And I do it just to mess with her. But the first time I done it, someone screamed, "What is it?" And she screamed. She said, "Oh, it's just my pastor." She wasn't ashamed to say who it was. I might mess with her on stuff, but she's not ashamed.
That's it.
How many of you are ashamed?
There you go. Think about it.
Well, I mean, she ain't ashamed. She'll tell you to get some Jesus real quick.
Yeah.
Ain't only here either.
Came home the other, or she got off work and clocked out the other day and come around the counter and said, "That manager needs to get some Jesus." Right in front of her.
But you get what I'm saying tonight. These children have made a difference.
That's it.
Our kids have made a difference.
Mhm.
I mentioned it on the radio, didn't I, James, that it's a shame that the kids are leading the parents now.
Oh, yeah.
Parents don't lead, the kids lead them to church.
Yep.
Half the time the kids didn't say, "Let's go to church," we wouldn't go.
Yes.
I'm gonna say this one, 'cause I got a question to ask. How many would have said, if that had been you tonight and your kids was really wanting to be here, how many will say about, "I just don't want to go"? Honest. Be honest. You tell me James is the only one being honest tonight? It didn't cross no one else's mind. Well,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Across my mind, when that big old storm hit down, I was saying, am I gonna be able to make the church? I may not.
it didn't cross no one else's mind. It's James and Kenny's only person. You really think that?
I did my youth choir practice. That was what I was so much in the church, but it was the youth choir practice.
And Sherry said, "Is there even a point to have it tonight?"
I didn't think of that.
Oh, it meant something else. I started on the radio station because I was real discouraged this morning after Sunday. So I really was. I was real discouraged. But then I realized that that's where I needed to be.
Has it
Get
crossed,
over that discouragement.
has it crossed your mind today? Man, I'm tired. Be nice to stay home today. One service ain't gonna kill me. Josh was honest a few weeks ago. He said on Wednesday night, he said it got off his burn. If you was being honest tonight with yourself and with the Lord, because He already knows the truth.
There you go.
If you're sitting here and you're not raising your hand, you know you thought it today. The Lord's already knowing it, and He's knowing you're sitting in His house and you're lying.
There you go.
I walked in and there wasn't nobody there. And I looked at Carol, I was like, I'm not sure if there's four. And I said, you know what, we still need the gospel with it, one for free, it doesn't matter.
You think about it, son. We've all done it.
Oh, yeah.
Well, preacher, you're gonna be missing here in 2 weeks. You're missing the Sunday and Wednesday. I understand that. I'll be on vacation. How many else is missed? How many else is missed this year? How many has missed multiple services this year? Think about this. How many, and they don't really bother you? It don't really bother you to miss. But how many of you, if your kids looked at you and said, "We're going to church," and you say, "No"?
Yeah.
I've had little kids look at me here in our church. In our church and say, "I would have been here preaching, but Mom and Daddy wasn't going to come." Don't that break your heart? That we got members of our church that will not get up and take their children to church. They said, "Preacher, well, I want to be there. I had no right." One day you're going to be an adult. Your children's going to be an adult. And you will want them in church with you. And they'll tell you no.
Yep.
man living it right now.
Preacher, what are you getting at tonight? I'm not really getting at anything. I just want you to realize how much these children do mean to us. That right now, they're pushing us. They're what pushing you. I guarantee you, if it's a Saturday and you're going to the swimming pool, you ain't gonna miss that, are you? No, you'll be dragging them youngins into the swimming pool. Let's go, kid. It's hot, I'm getting my relief. It's just as cool right here in this church as it is in the swimming pool. Cool. You don't even have to worry about sunburn in here. Maybe fluorescent burn.
You said something a minute ago that sort of hit me in the face. You said, one service won't hurt community. You know what, let me tell you something. It might not, but I'm gonna tell you something. That next service, if you miss one, then the next service,
It's easier.
it'll be easier to miss. And first thing you know, Wednesday night, you'll quit coming to church altogether. Ask me why. Cause I've been there, or how do I know? I've been there, and I really do. I work on Wednesdays. I was in Charlotte Wednesday. But you know what? I've just been here. But you know what? You get used to that. You get used to that. And it's not good. You will start missing services.
Yeah, when Kim started working at Thermo second shift, I couldn't come on Wednesday. I never failed. If it was on live stream or YouTube, I watched every service, but I wasn't able to be here. Now, it's not the same, but then I started working. And as long as it's on Facebook or as long as it's on YouTube, I will automatically turn YouTube or Facebook and watch or listen to it. I won't watch it, but I will listen to it on the drive home. If I don't listen to it on the drive home, I'll watch it when I get home.
Please don't watch it drive.
I don't watch it, I listen to it. But when I do listen to it at home, and it's been said quite a few times. The two downstairs hears every word and every message that I've listened to at the house. Because they're right under me. They can hear everything that is said. And so in a way, I hated not being here. And I miss not being here. But I can't get Autumn to come to church. But she's got no other choice but to hear the message if I watch it at home.
How many is chose? I'm gonna quote here. How many is chose their job of where you have to miss? You chose the hours you're working to where you have to miss. Maybe there's something else offered to you, but you turned it down for another reason.
Doug, I used to work with James. I told James, he knows it for a fact. Wednesday, I gotta be in church. And we'll be, might be 5 or 10 minutes late, but I tell him.
I know, I was there with you, I worked with him too. But here's the thing, and y'all are taking this sort of to the far extreme of what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is, when does it become that we have to miss to where we want to miss? Big difference there. Sometimes we have to miss. Kira and Elizabeth have no choice. They're in high school. They're teenagers. They're working teenager jobs. Guess what happens on teenager jobs? You work whatever hours they give you.
Right.
I know, been there.
Oh, yeah.
The only job a teenager can get right now and have every Sunday off is Chick-fil-A.
Or Hobby Lobby.
18 up at Hobby Lobby.
Okay.
But Chick-fil-A, And I don't think every teenager that wants off on Sundays can work at Chick-fil-A. They ain't that many of them around. Or they're far away. Kira wants to work at Chick-fil-A right over here, and I will not allow her to. Well, preacher, she'll be off on Sundays. Do you want your daughter driving home 30 minutes away every night at 10, 11 o'clock at night, come down King Creek? No. I sort of like my daughter being right down the road 3 minutes away. But what I'm getting at, where does it go from a have to a want to?
Amen. Amen.
This afternoon I turned porch, we was giving Andrew a hard time out there. But you know, Misty can't help it that she's cramping in her legs and stuff like that. She's pregnant. How many of you guys want to put on those, want to wear a baby and try to carry it? Think about it. She's pregnant. I'm fat and I'm lazy. I worked hard for 8 hours, James, and I'm ready to go home and take a 5-hour nap. Then go to bed and try to sleep 8 more hours. Can I get an amen? But we've been bragging tonight on these children. Bragging about how the Lord's using these kids. They deserve it. Do we deserve any kind of things for what we've done for the Lord?
No way. No.
How many saying, I wish that preacher would shut up tonight and go?
And I'm saying that because it's hit me right in the face.
We brag on these children on what they're doing. How many times do we tell them at home, boy, we're proud of how you're doing? I want to brag right now. Did you hear them too in the youth choir?
Oh, yeah.
They opened their mouths and let her flew in that one.
Yeah.
Saying good too.
And listen, I don't think I'd ever sung that song before. I'll go, I'll do, I'll leave. That's a hard song. But boy, they nailed it. Josh and Andrew get mad at me when I don't sing every word that's wrote down on the paper. They say they're trying to follow it Wednesday night. Both of them look at me weird when we sing that one song. I missed about 3 words on it. I just give them words to keep going. They didn't need to be in there. You hear these kids, they sing it for you. When's the last time we bragged on them? Oh, preacher, that's what we're doing. I'm not talking about in here. At home. I've messed with these kids tonight. I've joked with these kids tonight. James was talking about how good Elizabeth is and how you can tell she's a Christian lady. And I said, well, you should see her at McDonald's. I was joking with you.
I know, but I guarantee you get right down to it, you can.
Oh, you can. I've been to where all these kids work, and I know how they act. I've always made it a point to try to go through where these kids work. The only one I never got to go to was Tyler. But he wasn't staying in the same job very long, Joe. I went through with her working. I went there with Kira working. Well, preacher, why would you do that? I went to where Caitlin works. I just want to check on them, make sure they're all right. Think about this. Elizabeth, Kira, and Caitlin. Kira I've known since she was a baby.
Yeah.
Caitlin was about a year or 2 years old. And she was much older than that.
She was about 2.
About 2. And I'm telling you, those 3, I've almost felt like their dad at times.
Everybody called your daddy Doug.
At some point, yeah. But what I'm getting at is when that one goes to work.
That's it.
That one. Oh, we go by and check on this. Think about this. Just think about this. What about when this one goes to work? It ain't that much longer to go. This will be at work before you know
She will.
it. I remember carrying Kira a lot around like this when I was preaching.
Oh, yeah.
Lord help, I couldn't carry her around like this and preach today. But I'm still able to do her. Think about this. She don't remember how you used to be. Do you?
Nope.
And you don't.
Barely.
You don't really remember something. You remember what people's told you. What you've heard us talk about. Yeah, he remembers Daddy, but he don't remember everything about Daddy. Kira and Teddy, they never knew the Daddy that used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's good. It is. These kids, think about it. All Emmy's ever known in her life, Daddy's a preacher. Pretty much, all this one's ever known in her life is Daddy's a preacher. Mason, just about the same thing. Going to church. You remember anything else other than going to church much? Football, softball.
Part of what today does.
What did I ask them when the youth choir come down tonight? What was the first word in the Bible? How many of them answered? Every single one of them, but they didn't only give me the first word. They kept going.
They give you the first verse.
They give me the whole verse. So now I'm gonna put you adults on it. What is the last word in the Bible? The end.
Yeah.
No more Andrew's Bible here.
Take your Bible up there.
Yeah, let me do it.
I know it blows your mind. Thompson says,
The end.
the end.
That's what man put in there though.
Yeah, that's what the man put in there,
Actually, that should say the beginning.
but it says the end. Yours say it?
Yeah.
Yours say it, Ricky?
Mine says amen.
Schofield don't. Schofield just, amen, and that's it. Thompson Chains will say the end. Sherry's in Schofield. Amen. Schofield.
Mine says amen.
Mine says amen.
What am I getting at? That was a trick question.
Yeah.
But if you heard the ones with Thompson said the end, the ones with Schofield said amen. Just a little bit of a difference, but you knew it. So I'm gonna ask you another hard question. What is in the direct middle of the Bible?
Psalms 119.
Not that, when I say that.
Oh, the word.
No, when I'm talking about what is the middle of the Bible? Crucifixion.
Oh, okay.
Now, if you go off the pages and you do all that, yeah, Psalm 119 might be it, I don't know. But where in the Bible is it the middle? The crucifixion. Because everything leads to the cross and leads away from the cross.
Amen.
And then leads back to the cross. It's the middle.
Yeah.
Simple questions. But where will we become? Look, it's 6:30. We've heard testifying tonight. Brag on the kids. Now it's my turn. I leaned over to Ricky and I said, let's see how Andrew handles this tonight. Why would you say that, preacher? Well, how would he handle? Young preachers still at times don't know how to handle it when a congregation gets to bragging on Jesus at times. A lot of times they're sitting there gnawing at the butt, gnawing at the bit just to preach. Yes, I haven't really preached tonight. So I want to be thankful. I want to say I'm thankful to Andrew for being obedient to God.
Amen.
Right.
I knew it when I was sitting back there and he said, "You want to go testimony?" I said, "That's it." I knew it was sitting back there, but I wanted to see how he'd handle it once everybody started testifying. I appreciate him doing what God wanted him to do. Think about this tonight. Someone just must have commented. Think about this. I appreciate you. How many in here would raise their hand and say, "You've been with me at least 8 years"? Oh, I forgot y'all had. How many would be in here and raise their hand and say, "I've been with you at least 6"? No, notice. Most, how many in here will say, "I've been with you all 12 years"? For the most part, you have.
Yeah, for the most part.
You've maybe left for 2 weeks, a month, and come right back.
Well, the very start, only with you, that's probably been with you all the time.
You've been with me the whole time. I appreciate y'all being dedicated. Trust me, I know when I first started out pastoring, I wasn't easy to deal with. And trust me, I know that 12 years later, at times, I'm still not easy to deal with. I know it's the truth, but you've stuck with me. You've stuck with my shortcomings. There've been plenty of those. You want to know something? I've stuck with y'all shortcomings.
Exactly.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir.
We've stuck together. When this one's so mad at me, he won't even answer his phone, I have to drive to his house. Oh, man.
No, you go there.
When this one's so mad at me, I'm knocking on the door and he won't answer, and thank God Kayla was there because she answered it. When he keeps hitting ignore on me, he goes and gets in the shower because he's mad at me. He leaves and stays gone 7 years. He leaves and been gone for, what was it? Not even a year. But what I'm getting at is we all gonna have our problems. Do you think I agree with y'all 100% on everything y'all do? Do you think I agree with you on taking a job that takes you away from like the house of God? No, I don't. But does that stop me from worshiping with you? I guarantee you, you don't agree when I preach on that God will not give you a job, he'll take you away from the house of God because you feel like God's giving you a job.
Yeah.
The Bible says work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. You might not agree with everything I'm going to say. There's one thing you've got to realize though. Is whether you like me or not down here, you're going to spend eternity with me if you're saved. Misty, think about that. You're going to see me every day for eternity. Yeah, God's probably got a good sense of humor and we're going to be neighbors. Huh? Oh, it's 1 day is 1,000 years. Yeah, there. Shut up. But what I'm getting at tonight is, I appreciate y'all.
Yeah. Amen.
I appreciate y'all. Last week, y'all pulled a good one on me. Thank you, Dwayne, for letting me know that.
Hey, that's right.
Hey,
Hey, y'all can get him now.
hey, Dwayne, who told you?
Ricky.
Ricky.
Yeah, Rick, get it.
But I appreciate the pastor appreciation. I didn't realize.
We're gonna give him a true next.
But I thank God for all that he's done.
Amen. And to show you that we appreciate you, we're all here.
You know, I don't
If
ever.
we didn't appreciate you, we wouldn't be here.
I don't ever worry that much anymore. No, don't get me wrong when I say this. There's ones that I know ain't gonna be here at times. I can tell you on Wednesday nights who will be here and who won't, who will come up with an excuse that they won't be here. And sometimes I don't even have to know it, their wives will call me on the phone. If they're the phone at their husband.
We can all like their own self.
Yeah.
About, you know, I ain't seen anybody get mad about what said that already.
But what I want to say here is, I might know who's gonna be here on Wednesdays, but I can about guarantee on most of you on Sunday. That says a lot. Sunday morning, Sunday night. Sunday at the radio. Think about this, and I'm gonna close right here. How many times have you seen one of these kids do something for Jalen?
A lot.
I've seen Mason sit there feeding chips.
Yes, sir.
I've seen Adam do it.
Mason holding rack, playing boys there.
Yeah.
And Nathan too.
I've seen Nathan, I've seen all these kids do this stuff. You think about that. Why wouldn't I be proud to pastor this church? We might, it's like I told somebody the other day, I said, we might be just a bunch of rednecks saved by the grace of God, but we're cool rednecks. And he said, you're cool rednecks. I said, yeah, for a year we burnt alive in that church because the heat, the air conditioner was out. I said, but now, son, you go in there and it's like hanging meat at times. Can I get an amen right there? Can I get a witness?
Amen.
Amen. I appreciate these preachers. I appreciate these two preachers. I was telling Brother Mark, he's going out of town the same time I am. He said, who you got covering the church for you while you're gone? I said, I got two preachers. I said, they can handle it. His brother, I wished I had that. And he's got former pastors as members of his church. Can't trust them. Former pastors, but can't trust them to preach right. Or can't trust them that they're going to be living right long enough for him while he's gone. He has to call someone in from outside. Never can you. But think about it. I appreciate these. Now, if they let me down, I'm going to string them both up by their toenails.
I'll call you.
Okay. As we stand to our feet.
You are old, boy.
Ed Bell, I suppose if y'all would take one foot already out, right up here to this altar. She ran to that altar.
Father, thank you and praise you for everything you've done. Father, we just thank you for letting us assemble once again, Lord. Father, thank you for letting your breath blow. We come and sit and listen to service tonight, Lord. Father, we just pray that you give everybody traveling grace, that there's a grace tonight, Lord. Father, and bring everybody back at the next appointed time, Lord. Father, just thank you and praise you in Jesus' name.
Yeah.